Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Got a special guest in the house, our good friend here, Brad Kellner. BK, what's up, man? How you doing?
Steve, I'm doing great, man. Appreciate the invite. Always love chopping it up and talking some ball with you, man.
Amen, man. Amen. And you guys know what to do is you come into the chat, hit that like button, subscribe. The whole bit is free to show love. So, do what you can. We are trying to get to 15,000 subscribers by August 30th. So Texas versus Ohio State. That is our goal for this channel. And it takes a village, right? It takes all you guys helping us advance this platform. And you're here talking ball, or you have a deferring opinion, what have you. Help a brother out. So please subscribe, hit the like button, the whole bit. See CB's already here in a timely manner. It's always good to see him. Mr. Price is here as well. So BK, you're in the building. Good to see you. BK, where can the people find you? Because you are all over the place, man.
Well,
Covering this wonderful program.
well, first of all, you're selling yourself short. Let's not wait until game one on August 30th. Let's get 15K by the start of training camp. We don't have an exact date for that. I'm thinking end of July is when Texas fall camp will start. So that should be the goal. Y'all better help Steve get to 15K by the time fall camp runs around. Then we could be talking about 17 or 18 by kickoff for the Longhorns and the Buckeyes. But yeah, appreciate the chance to promote what I've got going on. Texas Sports Unfiltered. If you are looking for the best sports radio in Central Texas, check out Texas Sports Unfiltered. Fully digital, easy to find on YouTube or also on our website, texassportsunfiltered.com. And then recently, I became the host of Locked On Longhorns. I'm sure a lot of y'all are familiar with the Locked On Podcast Network. Gracious and grateful for the opportunity to host Locked On Longhorns. So definitely check that one out. Once you're done watching all of Steve's content, check out Locked On Longhorns. Check out Texas Sports Unfiltered, and we'll have you covered with all three of those.
Beautiful, man. And we were over there with Nash on Friday, filling in for two big dogs over there in Chip Brown and Zay, and we had a blast over there. So, a lot of the stuff we talked about is still relevant. So go check out that episode if you haven't. I will upload a few clips here on the channel in the next coming days. We talked about Steve Sarkeesian and his ranking in the top. The top 10 coaches came out on ESPN. Maybe we can start there. I mean, this is kind of a free for all, but we Nash and I talked about this. I love to get your take on it, BK. But every year ESPN, it's tis the season of list, right?
Oh yeah.
And ESPN has Steve Sarkeesian ranked number 5 amongst all head coaches. Everybody was asked to rank their top 10 head coaches. Steve Sarkeesian came in at number 5. Number 1, I think he was short of one unanimous vote. One vote to be unanimous was Kirby Smart of Georgia. Number 2, I believe, who was number 2?
Ryan
It
Day.
was Ryan Day, reigning national champion, of course. How could I forget? And then 3 was Dabo, and 4 was Marcus Freeman out of Notre Dame, and then Sark came in at 5. So last year he was 7, and below people like Mike Norvell. So we've made some progress. BK, we're now in the top 5 head coaches. What say
Uh,
you about that list that ESPN put out?
well, first of all, I know why you forgot Ryan Day was number 2. It's because you're trying to forget that game between Texas and Ohio State at Jerry World back in January, right? You don't want to remember that. You don't want to remember anything about Ohio State or
Just
Ryan Day.
immediately bringing up trauma.
Yeah. So
Outstanding.
yeah, that's what we do here. That's what I'm all about. Steve's the optimistic guy. I'm here to ruin your life. That's why we're a great tandem. I guess the main point is these lists don't matter very much. If Mike Norvell was ahead of Steve Sarkeesian last year, but look, I think the top three has to be the top three because there are only three active coaches in college football who have won national championships. You've got Kirby Smart with 2, Ryan Day with 1, Dabo Sweeney with 2. I would flip flop Dabo and Day. I'd put Dabo at 2. I'd put Day at 3. I think it's easier to win at Ohio State than it is at Clemson. And also, stubbornness usually doesn't pay off. And I'm a big believer in adapt or die. Somehow, some way, Dabo has not adapted, and he's nowhere close to dying. So, like, my way or the highway guy, usually usually gets fired. The fact that Dabo has done it his way, right? Not a lot of NIL, not a lot of portal, and everyone's picking Clemson to make it back to the playoff again for the second straight year. And the fact that he's got 2 to Ryan Day's 1. I'd put Dabo at 2. I'd put Ryan Day at 3. And then I'd put Sark ahead of Marcus Freeman, only because it's been 2 years of greatness for Sark and just 1 year of greatness for Marcus Freeman. Don't take anything away. 14 wins, a Notre Dame school record. They played for a national championship. I think he's a hell of a coach. I think he definitely belongs somewhere in the top 10. But I would not put him ahead of Steve Sarkeesian because, again, Sark has done it in 2023 and 2024. He's recruiting better. I just think most ADs in the country, Steve, and you tell me if I'm wrong on this, most ADs in the country, if they had their choice of Steve Sarkeesian or Marcus Freeman to take over their program, they would go with Sark, and I would too.
Yeah, right now, I mean, you also think about Sark's development of how he got to this point, right? I mean, like you said, Marcus Freeman, who has an impressive resume as a defensive coordinator at Cincinnati, at Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame's probably looking back at the Brian Kelly thing, and, Brian Kelly did not even make this list, right? He was an honorable mention, so didn't even make the top 10. But, what Sark has done as an OC and then progressing into head coach, being the guy to really rebuild Texas, I think that's the difference there for me of where he's got Texas to. Marcus Freeman was a part of it, but Brian Kelly was already had Notre Dame's program in a very respectable place. I think he's just elevated what was already a top program. So I definitely agree with you there. I would just have him flip flop, honestly.
Yeah.
I think I would still have Marcus Freeman over Dan Lanning, and some of the other names that were on there, but I think it's an interesting time, this time of year to be having these conversations, and it really has me feeling optimistic because Sark is, I think, done a tremendous job of rebuilding this coaching staff as people have been promoted. We're not in the business of firing coaches anymore, BK.
Yeah.
We used to be like, we got to get rid of that guy to get this guy. Get all of the people that have left here have left for either an opportunity or a bag. The
Right.
only person that was fired was Andre Coleman, to my knowledge. Like
Yeah.
since he's been the coach, right? Like
Yeah, continuity
that.
is huge, right? I mean, Texas just hasn't had it. Anybody who's watched this program for the last couple of decades has known how rare it's been for a head coach, a coordinator, a position coach to keep his job longer than a few years. I mean, PK is the longest tenured defensive coordinator at Texas since Carl Reese back from 98 to 03. Like just keeping coordinators, forget a head coach, keeping your coordinators around has been huge. And yeah, the fact that we're headed into year 5 of the Steve Sarkeesian era, you've got the same OC, the same DC, and the same special teams coordinator. Like, that's a big deal, and that's a big reason why the Longhorns are where they are and one of the most consistent programs in America right now.
I want to give a shout out to our resident hater, John Willard of the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies over there. You know what? You keep your head up, brother. Thank you for supporting our content. You are here on a regular basis, giving us views, commenting. Every comment you do helps us in the algorithm, brother. So I just thank you for your consistency. I know you're going through a very rough time after just another historically down bad loss with the women's softball team and just what this program has become. But we're here to talk about Texas. I appreciate you. And, God bless John Willard. Thank you for your service. Really appreciate it.
Hey, the only thing Mike Elko is better than Steve Sarkeesian at is taking down a buffet. All right. Outside of that, I trust Steve Sarkeesian 10 times out of 10 against Mike Elko, Steve. Had to. Sorry for the body shaming this early on in the show, but I wasn't planning on it. John just walked right into it. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, when you show up talking like that a day after that historic loss, I mean,
Mm.
goodness, wow. You know,
Yeah, that was. I saw Megan Willis today, lifetime Longhorn, great Texas softball player. Now she calls some games for ESPN Plus, and we were talking a little bit on our show this morning, and she was just cracking up, like smiling from ear to ear. She liked us talking about Texas sweeping through the Austin Regional, but I think she liked it more us talking about A&M completely crapping the bed against a car insurance company. That's impressive.
liberty, liberty, liberty. So while we're on this topic, though, in terms of SEC, because I want to get your take on this, especially as an alum of the school. You were there. We talk about this all the time. You were there during some of the darkest periods not just with football. I mean, the administration and with Steve Patterson there and all the people running the ship, right? Texas in their first year in the SEC wins or clinches the all sports title, whatever you want to call it, but they're the best all around sports program in the SEC in this year, right? Our first year, full year, wire to wire in sports. Just what does that mean to you, man? And what's your perspective there, just on what you've seen from this program throughout SEC and just year one of being in this conference?
Yeah, it's pretty special, but it's not all that surprising. Now, there are levels to this, right? I'm a little surprised Texas baseball, heck, I'm a lot of surprised Texas baseball just won the SEC title, right? Like that, I don't think anybody saw coming. I'm a
Predicted
little
to be eighth
Yeah,
before
exactly.
the
I'm a
season.
little surprised that Texas football, finished the regular season with the best record in the SEC and made it to a conference championship game. Like, I think most Longhorn fans, I guess the point I'm trying to make here, Steve, is I think we all felt good about the quote unquote Olympic sports. Like, we knew volleyball was going to come in and compete. We knew rowing was going to come in and do what they've done for years. We knew
Track and
swimming and
field,
diving and
swimming.
track and
Mhm.
field. Yeah, like those sports, golf, tennis, because they've won national championships. So it's like, all right, if you're competing on that level, then it doesn't matter what conference you're in. You're going to be able to be at or very close to the top. But just to see some of the big three sports, considering how down Texas football has been for a while and what Texas baseball was kind of turning into towards the end of the David Pierce era. Obviously, Texas basketball still has some catching up to do. But again, some of the sports, not a huge surprise, but some of the bigger, more revenue generating sports, a very pleasant surprise. And it's pretty cool. I mean, we're sitting here on what, May 19th. Texas has won 8 SEC championships. No other school in this conference has more than 4. So as it stands right now, the Longhorns have doubled up number 2, and I think there are 4 or 5 schools that don't have any SEC championships this year. So, yeah, it's for years every Texas fan heard that the Longhorns weren't ready for the SEC, and it's just different here, and it just means more, and this, that, and the other. And there's been a lot of goalpost moving from SEC fans to try to continue talking trash to Texas, but it's been pretty hilarious to watch because the Longhorns have come in. It's walk into your trap, take over your trap, Steve. That's what it's been
Amen.
in year one for
Amen. Talk,
Texas.
man. Talk that ish, man. Because
Come on.
these are the same. The goalpost moving started during the football season, quite frankly, right?
Yeah.
Once Arch blew up Mississippi State in the smithereens, all of a sudden it was none of these teams are that good, and all this type of stuff. Like from that point forward, we had how do you go to through our SEC schedule and not play anybody? And like half the people saying we ain't play anybody are people that were on our schedule. So which
Yep.
one is it? You told me that this was going to be murderers row over here, and and the reality is it's top heavy like most of these other conferences. So and the other thing is we put our money where we put our money right there on the table and said we're going to go and deliver that product, right? Like all these schools I'm sorry, all these conferences have been pursuing. I mean, I remember back in the day the Pac-12 at one point was pursuing Texas, the Big Ten was pursuing Texas. Like this is why, right? Like this is exactly why the moves have been made to get a program like this because of what they bring to the table. I mean, look at the people in the seat in the people that are coming to Austin, like just the attention and attraction that we have brought to the SEC. I mean, I think both sides have amplified each other, BK. I don't think it's just been Texas mooching or benefiting off the SEC like other schools have done when they've entered the conference.
Yeah, no, I think it's been a great marriage for both sides at this point, right? I know a lot of other fan bases in this conference aren't thrilled by the fact that Texas is here, but I think Texas has enjoyed being in the SEC. I think they'll enjoy it even more when the new TV rights deals come to fruition and all the extra money starts coming into this university. And I mean, Daddy Sankey, as I like to call him, looks like a genius right now. Not as much with Oklahoma, but definitely with Texas. Right. I mean, just going out and getting Texas. Look, he got a lot of hate and a lot of heat and a lot of crap for adding Texas to the conference and kind of starting this most recent wave of realignment that has completely shaken up college sports as we've known it. But the early return on investment for the SEC, I think, is a very positive one from a brand standpoint and also from a financial standpoint. And I think that's only going to continue to grow as we move forward.
JS Hooper said we're only a few years of Texas success away from hearing how Texas ruined the SEC.
Oh, head over to texags.com and you'll see that right now. You don't have to wait a few more years, Jays Hooper. That's already out there from the folks in College Station. That's for damn sure.
Woo! Facts, man, facts.
Mm.
So, man, just getting through this too. It's really interesting. Some of the anticipation for Arch Manning going into this season. Again, a lot of goalposts moving there. At this point I laugh and I chuckle at it, but it also signals to me like just I feel like a lot of people like for example John Mateer at Oklahoma. They're betting the house. They've taken out a second mortgage. They're passing around the collection plate. They are trying to get every blessing that works. Him and Ben Arbuckle at OU, because if not, I mean, you know, that whole situation is a disaster. BV's probably done. You know how that ends up.
Yeah.
With Texas, I feel like there's been a lot of well, we got to see with Archer, well, this and all this type of stuff. When they just pretend like there's no sample size, like he has never played a snap of college football. Like he didn't have this man had more touchdowns than DJ Lagway had last year, and everybody gives DJ Lagway the benefit of the doubt. And I'm gonna say that it's loud. He had more touchdowns than DJ Lagway had last year, and y'all love gassing up DJ. Rightfully so. Very talented brother. They will face off in their SEC opener. My thing is this: I feel like a lot of people are scared of the other side. BK, what if this man is who they think he is? What if this man is what they say he is, right? I only hear the negative. I don't hear rarely hear outside of the NFL people. I feel like the NFL people are very excited. But in terms of our college football fans, man, what say you? Where's your optimism spring from? Because for me, right there, it starts with Arch, obviously. But
Yeah.
I want to get your feedback on that. What you've been hearing?
Yeah, it's got to start with Arch, right? I mean, we're talking about the top quarterback in the country coming out of his recruiting class, but more importantly, we're talking about the next of kin in the first family of football. We all know the genes. I'm a huge fan of genes. I wear them all the time, and I'm a big believer in genes. Like I like recruiting, players with dads who played at Texas. I like my favorite NFL team drafting players of they got a brother in the league or they had a dad who played in the league or whatever. Like I'm a believer in genetics, and Arch Manning is some of the best football genes that have ever been created. So it starts with him. I mean, I'd feel a lot different about this whole situation if Arch was a true freshman, right, going into his first year, and oh man, he's got to start right away. And hey, welcome to college football. Your first game is on the road against the defending champs. But the fact that he's going into year 3, he knows the offense, he knows his teammates, he's gotten that in-game experience that you talked about, right? Starting 2 games, playing in 2.5 real games this past season. All of those things combined give me the confidence that, yeah, it's going to be a really good year. Of course, there will be some growing pains. There are going to be some bumps and bruises along the way. It's not going to be perfect. It wasn't perfect when VY was the quarterback here. But I mean, I feel like the sky is the limit, and I think the hype is real with Arch Manning. And everybody knows you can't win if you don't have a good quarterback in this sport. People are going to pick Texas to win it all this year because they believe that Texas has one of the best quarterbacks in the sport. I think there's a damn good chance that they're dead on with that.
Just for the comments here, I knew y'all fell right into my trap. Arch also had 4 rushing touchdowns. DJ Lagway had none. So that makes Arch 13 touchdowns,
Mm.
Lagway 12 touchdowns. We got it. I said touchdowns. I didn't say passing touchdowns. I said he had more touchdowns than DJ Lagway, and I'm standing on that. DJ Lagway did not have a rushing touchdown last year. He had 12 touchdowns in the games he played. Arch had 13 and played significantly less snaps. I'm those are just the facts. Go look that up for yourself. Y'all know how many. Y'all know he scored one of them against A&M. Okay, so
That was fun.
but I appreciate you. That's why we have to we engage in the chat. Hey, if I'm not arguing past, I'm total touchdowns, baby. Anyway, Ike said Texas going 9-3 this year. That doesn't sound optimistic to me, but we're gonna keep rolling. I'm with you on genes and bloodline, though, BK. Um, I think the more we even watch even professional sports, watching the NBA, there's so many second gen super like big time players, right? Like Steph Curry, like just across the board, that stuff matters. It matters when you've been around the game and you have access to tribal knowledge, you have access to training and things that other people just do not have access to. And then on top of that, you couple that with where we want to see is, do you have that work ethic? Do you have the dog of your uncles or your dad or your grandpa? And once you combine those two things, that's a very dangerous combination, right? And I think you're seeing that not just with Arch, but you think about Dia Bell, right? His dad, Raja Bell, being a former professional athlete and what they're recruiting. We know that Sark and them are recruiting Gunnar Rivers, Philip Rivers, one of the 19 children he has, right? That dude's going to have at least 10 NFL players just out of his, out of his DNA.
Man, can we get the guy some protection, please? Like, it's just incredible. Like, how do you do that? Huh. The thought of having one kid scares the heck out of me, but having, what, 9, 10, 11, he's got a whole baseball roster, basically. He could field a whole starting 11 in football. I mean, it's insane. But, hey, if all of them are good athletes like their pops was, then all right, bring them down to Texas. I'll take it.
I love it, man. And the funny thing is, Gunner and Arch have the same trainer, same QB trainer. So, like, these are also, when you have NFL quarterbacks that have also agreed on who should be training their son, and they're, all these guys are Hall of Fame, all pro type guys. I'm with you there on the genes. And it also matters because we had a quarterback last year that just had health problems. Like, it's the reality of the situation. He's had health problems going back to his high school career, which was a big factor of him falling in the draft, was his health. I feel as though as long as he doesn't get, like somebody said, just don't get concussed. The Manning gene, they are top 10, both of them, Eli and Peyton, in NFL consecutive starts. Like, Peyton came back with a broken neck, bro. Like, and still regenerated and threw for like 50 touchdowns after breaking a neck in his later age. Like, they're built different. It,
Yeah. You're right. I mean, that's the hope right there. Like, obviously, and Sark has talked about it openly this offseason. He's not going to turn Arch Manning into a rag doll, right? Like, you can't have Arch Manning looking like what Haynes King looked like at Georgia Tech. Hey, there you go, John. There's an A&M reference for you. Congratulations, my friend. You can't have Arch Manning running the ball 10, 15, 20 times a game. Obviously, his legs are a weapon. You want that to be a part of your offense. That should help your short yardage and red zone woes a ton this year. But it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. Your starting quarterback is your most important and most valuable piece on your football team. Texas, if Arch Manning gets hurt week 1, loudest knock on wood of all time, then all of the goals and expectations for this team change from national championship to like, can you somehow sneak into the playoff at 9-3? Like and that might be overly optimistic. So you have to find a way. Yeah, you hope he's resilient. You're going to have to be in this league and with this schedule that Texas has. But obviously, you hope you get a little bit of injury luck too. And you got to be smart with how you use Arch Manning, because if something happens to him, again, this whole season, just you flush it down the toilet.
yeah, that's a big reason why they you do. I mean, I think the optimism to achieve the goals that they want to achieve are gone. I mean, I do think them going and getting, what's his name, Matthew Caldwell from Troy, and to help fill in the quarterback room, somebody that started games. And I know we've talked about it a little bit here on this channel. I don't think that's a negative thing about Owens or KJ or Lacey in the room. I just think that they want another person that started D1 football games in the room. I think that's all that is, and just being a part of that development process. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think. But I do think, looking at the overall perspective of the season, BK, where do you think what are some of the teams that have your eye on from a competitive standpoint that may give us some issues? Because when I look at the schedule, obviously we start with Ohio State. We have I've divided into 4 quarters. So Q1 is Ohio State by itself. Q2 is the tune-up games where we have a whole month of September playing tune-up games, and then October starts off. We play Florida, and we're not on the road for until November, until you know we go through Florida, Kentucky, OU's on in Dallas. So, just what are those? What's that look like to you in terms of who you have your eye on this season?
Obviously, Ohio State, as my voice just cracks right there. You're welcome, everybody. Yeah. Going through puberty, I guess, for the first time here tonight. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, Ohio State, like anytime it's game one, you're going to talk about it because there's such a long build up. But I mean, we're talking about a preseason top three matchup. We're talking about a rematch of the CFP semifinal. We're probably talking about Lee Corso's last ever headgear pick on college game day. So the storylines, y'all don't need me to tell you what's at stake when Texas goes to the shoe on August 30th. That's the one right there. Obviously, the Georgia game, too. I mean, I know that's kind of a cop out answer, but look, Texas is playing kind of the two premier programs in the sport on the road in the same season. So it's going to be great when people still say Texas has an easy schedule after they go like 11-1 this year. But it can't not be Georgia after what happened last year. I mean, they beat you twice in a 1.5 month span. They kicked your ass in your home barn. Obviously, the game in Atlanta was a lot closer. If you had a kicker who didn't have stupid hair, you probably win that game and win the SEC championship. But like, it's got to be that game, right? That's another potential top 10, if not top 5 opponent. You're on the road, and Steven, I'm a huge believer of to be the best, you got to beat the best. And
Amen.
Georgia's been the class of this conference. Obviously, Nick Saban, Alabama's there too. You don't play them this year, so you can't include them. But Georgia's kind of been the class of this league the last 3, 4, 5 years. And to prove that you are the sort of the new world order in this conference, you got to go on the road and beat them. And what a statement you can make on November 15th. So those are the two obvious ones. I'll let you take it from there since I just stole the two easy answers.
No, no, those. I mean, but the Georgia game. We'll go backwards. I mean, the Georgia game, like you said. I mean, those are the two. Georgia and Ohio State beat you last year. The only two opponents that beat you last year. But Georgia, the way that game happened in Austin, where it was, they punched you in the face to start the football game, and you got a rematch with them, and you got to play them in Atlanta, and you thought you played well enough to win, I would say, but you didn't get the job done, right? And I think that's a big reason why special teams has been such a focus. The fake punts, the kicking game, like just the little bit of I mean, that game goes to OT, BK. Like that little bit of margin held you back from having that. You said a ninth SEC championship, right?
Yeah.
Like that we were that close, right? And the most important sport to this conference, to us. So that Georgia game going down there to Athens and the icy whites is going to mean a whole lot, man. I plan on being there for
There we
that
go.
game. I mean, that's especially if Georgia has shows any chinks this year, that also may turn into a must win depending on how things end up. Like I think some people are kind of sleeping on Georgia all of a sudden because I've seen Josh Pate have them at 11, which is almost like disrespect. 11 preseason for Georgia, but
Oh,
they did lose a lot. I mean, it's the truth.
yeah.
So
God, I hate that though, don't you? Because Kirby Smart uses any ounce of motivation he can. He turns a chip on a shoulder into a boulder on a shoulder in like the blink of an eye. So I wish people were saying Georgia's going to be great because now I'm even more worried. People are, even Georgia people, Steve, and you know Josh Pate's connected, but even Georgia
yeah,
people I've talked to who cover the team or like my friends who went to school there, they're like, I don't think we're going to be very good this year. And I'm just like, whatever the opposite of rat poison is, I feel like that's what's happening with Georgia right now. And now I'm even more terrified that they're going to be really freaking good again.
there's some interesting comments here. So Ike has talked. I kind of explained in the comments why he has Texas going 9-3. He thinks it's going to be kind of a build-up season to a big breakthrough season in 2026. And he thinks that, we are going to have to grow under Arch and some of the newer pieces here. He doesn't think that we'll be bad, but, I think, and that could be potentially the case. I hope it's not, obviously. I mean, we're so starving after with the players that are still here. I don't think you can think that way. I mean, this is probably Anthony Hill's last year at Texas already. Colin Simmons being here. This is going to be the only year you'll see Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill, and Jonah Williams play on the same football team at the same time. Like, to me, like, you got to hit, like, just on the defensive side of the ball with how they rebuilt that whole thing. Michael Taft came back for a reason. He didn't come back to go 9-3.
No, he didn't. And yeah, look, obviously Texas has a lot to replace. Guess what? They had a lot to replace last year, and they were a yard away from forcing overtime to play for a national championship. So this is what the good programs do. I mean, Georgia set an NFL record with draft picks the year after they won their first title. And what they do the next year? They won
Ran it
another
back.
national title, and they beat TCU by 1,000 points in that championship game. So it's like, this is what great programs do. Obviously, Texas not on that level yet. They've got to win one. But like they showed me so much, Steve. I'll be honest, right? It's out there, so I won't go revisionist history here and change what I said. I thought Texas was going to miss the playoff this past year because the last time I bought into Texas after a good year was, funny enough, after the win against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. And Sam said, we're back. Sorry for that UTSD I'm bringing up to everybody right now. But everybody believed it. It's like, all right, here we go. This is about to be the start of Texas getting back to the big time. And we all know what happened there. So I was like, that was in my head going into last season. I just thought a step back was inevitable. Didn't
Right.
happen. So now I'm confident that, okay, Texas under Steve Sarkeesian and this coaching staff, they've already proven they can lose double-digit players to the NFL and still get to the college football playoff and still compete at the highest stage. I know it's not going to happen every year, but I'm going to be pretty confident more often than not that as long as this staff is still intact, that it's going to happen.
You know, Ike said here, and this is he said, I want to 12 and here, but I have to temper expectations according to our situation. Taft isn't the team, though, Steven. I hear you, brother. And I don't think I think you're trying to, look at this. I know you, Ike. I know you. I know how much you love Texas. So it probably burns you typing in that 9-3 to the keyboard. And I'm normally Mr. Realistic. It's not a whole bunch of Kool-Aid that's flowing over here all the time. That's, you know, with that being said, though, my brother in Christ, we did not spend the type of money we spent, especially on that defensive line, to go 9-3. They did not spend the type of money they spent to go plug every little hole you could think of on kickers, on punters, on another receiver, on an All-American tight end. They didn't just go get 2 more D tackles. They went and got 5. Okay? So they look, I'm not saying that's the end all be all and whatnot, but I told y'all last year, Ohio State got greedy. They didn't need Quinshawn Judkins. They went and got greedy, right? And it those type of moves, they had one more Infinity Stone than we did. One more. Like, they went and got a Caleb Downs. Now, I'm not saying we got people coming in like that. That's not my point. But my point is the investment that they're making on behalf of the evaluation of the coaches of what they're saying that they need to break through. They're trying to win right now. When they went and got Watson from Syracuse, that tells me you're trying to win. When you go and do it, whatever chicanery they did to go get that boy to leave North Carolina after he's supposed to go there.
Yep.
Like, I'm like, we playing the game, bro. Like,
Oh, that was awesome. Yep, he commits, and then a few hours later, oh, never mind. No, I'm going to Texas instead. You love to see it, don't you? Maybe you just saw
that's happened to
Jordan.
us too many times, man.
Yeah,
We finally did it to somebody else.
maybe he just read one too many Jordan Hudson stories and was like, you know what, I can't be a part of the circus up there. I'm going to Texas instead. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's so well said, though, by you, man. Like, I want to acknowledge that. Texas didn't go out and address all of their holes in the portal to be 8-4 or 9-3. Now, look, things don't always go according to plan. I understand that. But this team, I mean, Sark has openly talked about it. Like, it's annoying to get that close. Obviously, it steps in the right direction. And considering where this program was for the 12 years of suck, most Longhorn fans are thrilled. And you should be thrilled about where things are at right now. But at some point, you want to get over that semifinal hump. And yeah, to get that close that you can taste it, that doesn't make you, oh yeah, we could take a step back next year and it's going to be fine. That makes you hungrier to want to get to the ultimate prize. So yeah, I love what you said, and I just saw Kirk Bowles report that it's actually 400 million, not just 40 mil, that Texas is spending on this roster this year. He's added an extra zero from his always reliable sources that he has.
Who is he talking to? Mattress Mac?
Hey, now he's in Houston working for the Chronic. Maybe he is talking to Mattress Mac on that deal. Who knows? God.
I had a good, healthy chuckle when I heard that number. But look, that's the funny thing about these numbers these days. And, you have people you talk to, I do as well. And when, the things you hear when you start, like the balloon numbers that get floated and turned somehow into reality. And I'm like, Alan said it was really 400 billion. That
Yeah, there you
was
go. Hey, I don't care what it was, man. Like, people dunked on Ohio State. Remember, they lost, what, 2 games in the regular season, right? They lost
right.
to Oregon, then they lost to Michigan, and everyone's like, "Oh, $20 million roster, idiots, losers, what are you paying for?" They got the last laugh. So, you go out and win a national championship. Oh, you bought one. Hey, kiss the ring, baby. Look up in the sky and see this banner. Yeah, all right. We followed the rules. We flexed our financial muscle. We did what we needed to do to go win a national championship. Sorry your team can't do it. As they say in Chappelle's show, hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. That's what I'll be doing if Texas wins a national championship next January. Everyone, oh, the money, the money. Sorry, poor people around. Couldn't be us. Couldn't be us.
I was told on Sunday that my God is a God of abundance, BK.
Mm,
And you know what? And what starts here changes the world. Is that not the motto at Texas? So you know what? We are going to use our resources. We are trained. They tell the kids networking. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Okay? Use your resources. I'm sorry we now live in an era where you can do that. Play
right.
front and center. Okay?
And we don't know how much longer this era is going to exist, right? Like, players are going to get paid forever moving forward. They're not going all the way back to what it was before. But I mean, you've got Congress getting involved. You got the president talking about meeting with Nick Saban. You got all sorts of people trying to put some sort of wraps on this. Something will happen at some point. I don't know what it looks like. Nobody knows what it looks like. But right now is, while there are sort of no rules and it's kind of open season, this is the time you should be, again, flexing those financial muscles a little bit to go out and win you one or two.
JB said that's why Nico was trying to cash out.
Oh, that
You got
is
to have
indeed
proper leverage, though, brother. But here's the thing, maybe Nico could have benefited by going to Macomb's business school to understand leverage a little bit better. But that's neither here nor there. In all seriousness, though, spending money isn't just it. I mean, ask John Willard. Look at that 2021 Texas A&M class that they put together. They were dropping bags, blowing money like it was no tomorrow. Okay, it's not just about the money. It's getting people into the proper infrastructure and the proper culture, and leveraging that and paying people what they're worth. Okay, but that's just part of the equation. If it was just about all those things, guys like Vernon Broughton, Alfred Collins wouldn't have stuck around all these damn years. I mean, yeah, they were getting paid, but like some of these guys had draftable grades previous years. Jahdae Barron had a draftable grade before he ever moved to corner,
Mhm.
and he came back. Right, like there's guys. We got guys coming back right now on our team that could have gone or developing, right, or guys that want to come into the program because Matthew Golden is a good example. He didn't get the most NIL money when he came here. He came here because of the system. He came here because he had just seen A.D. Mitchell and Xavier Worthy go. He was a Texas target coming out of high school, BK. I remember being on the trail for Matthew Golden and why he picked Houston when we had nothing going on. So
Yeah.
like I like this. It's not just about Texas. There's a lot of schools that got money that are trying to drop bags. That's part of it, and we should be leveraging our resources. Just like Austin's an amazing. There's a lot of selling points for Texas, but you got to give credit to Sark. and building an infrastructure where football players want to come and be a part of a successful, thriving football program for all the reasons that make you a successful blue blood. Draft
Yeah.
picks, award winners, and winning. Like,
That's it. That's it. Like you hit the nail on the head. I mean, everybody who signs to play football at a place like the University of Texas wants to play on Sundays, right? Nobody's goal is, oh, I want to be the highest paid NIL player in college, and then oh, that's it. My football career is done. No, it's I want to go make some money in college, sure, but I want to get developed into an NFL player, be a high draft pick, and have a long career at the next level. That's everybody's childhood dream is to go play in the NFL. It's not to just play on Saturdays. So the fact that Texas can boast its chest about, hey, we've had 23 players drafted in the last 2 years. That's more than anybody else in the country. And we've had a guy in the Steve Sarkeesian era, we've had a guy at every single position get drafted in these last 4 years. Like, there aren't a lot of coaches who can say that right now. So, yeah, the money helps. We're not going to be naive. But, yeah, getting developed is a big deal that obviously translates into wins on the field on Saturdays in the fall, but it also translates into bringing in the number one recruiting class last year, and we'll see how high Texas finishes here in 2026.
got a question up on the screen for us, BK. Love to hear your thoughts on what our running game will look like this year. You want to take that one from Ike Aurelius?
Yeah, I think it's twofold, right? I think Texas has the deepest running back room in the country, right? I mean, I don't know if Trey Wisner or CJ Baxter are the best running backs in the country. Matter of fact, I don't think they are the best running backs in the country, although Trey Wisner is the only returning 1,000-yard back in the SEC, which is kind of a cool nugget. But just the depth that Texas has in that room, I think, is unmatched, especially if CJ Baxter looks like the guy he was pre-knee injury. Trey Wisner's really good. I think he's gotten better. The coaches have continued to rave about him this offseason. We all liked what we saw from Jarrett Gibson in year one. I think he takes another step in year two. And you've got the two early enrollee freshmen. Obviously, Christian Clark is back as well. So, I mean, I think Texas has 4 to 5, maybe even 6 legitimate P4 caliber starting backs on their team. I don't know how many other schools in the country can say that. Here's my question, Steve. The offensive line. Like, I don't want to dunk on a dead guy, but whoever votes for the Joe Moore Award, they got it wrong. Like, Texas did not have a top 3 offensive line in the sport. You don't believe me? Go back and watch the Georgia games. Go back and watch the Ohio State game. Like, yeah, they played well against Kentucky. They played well against A&M. They played well against, UTEP, UTSA, like all the cupcake. Whenever they had to play a team with NFL talent, aka a team that you have to beat to win a national championship, they showed up small. So I thought this running game should have been better last year, even with the injuries. They just couldn't get enough consistent push up front. And that's with 3 NFL draft picks and Jake Majors, who is one of the highest compensated UDFAs that got picked up after the draft. So
Yeah.
now you got 4 new offensive linemen there. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. So it's funny. Bucky and I did our Texas Sports Unfiltered show at Ricky Williams' Celebrity Golf Tournament this year. Flex. Yeah, I know. And Casey Studdard sat at the table and talked to us for a little bit. And him and I have been talking about this off the air for a while, but he said they weren't nasty enough last year. That's a guy you should listen to about offensive line play. As good as they weren't nasty enough last year. So the offensive line, again, scary to think about because they're losing 4 guys who are going to be playing on Sundays. They have to be better at getting a push in the run game. Otherwise, Texas, they might make it back to the playoff, but they aren't going to beat the best teams on their schedule. So, long-winded answer, it should be good, but I think most of it depends on what the offensive line play is going to be like this year. Steve, what say you?
So the only game I'm pushing back on really is the Michigan game because they got nasty and they were inconsistent though. I think they were inconsistent with their nastiness. They weren't nasty every week. Like because to your point about the Joe Moore thing, I think that Michigan game did sit in a lot of people's heads for a long time until the Georgia game happened. And then it was like, well, who else do we vote for if not Texas? It was kind of one of those things. But the numbers don't lie. We finished 66th in rushing. We weren't great, right? That's pretty much like, you
Yeah.
know, that's literally mid-tier in college football. We were really better. Our pass pro was what was good. But if you look at each individual player outside of maybe Kelvin Banks, their strength is more pass pro than run blocking. So I guess my thing is with this new group, is that kind of the injection we need? Like, I think of Cole Hudson, for example, move into center. I think he can help us with just, strength, girth, being more of a tree stump at the line of scrimmage. Drake Majors obviously was more of a outside zone type guy, and he will be that in the league. I mean, that's probably what he's better at, suited for.
Yeah.
But Cole Hudson was like a mauler. Like when he was rotating in with DJ Campbell, he's the guy that was getting Baldy's breakdowns, highlight clips for pancaking some random guy in the middle of the game. Like, I need that energy full time at center
Yep.
next to DJ. If they can do what we think they can do, I think that power run bully ball element could really be in play, and the best we've seen in a really long time at Texas running in the interior. And God, that opens up so much for Arch if you're able to do that consistently. The problem is consistency. Like Forrest brought up Clemson. Yeah, we did run the ball real well against Clemson. And then
Yeah.
we couldn't run the ball to save our lives against Arizona State. The
Right.
very
And here's my pushback
like
to your pushback on Michigan. You look at the box score, 32 carries, 143 yards. That's 4.5 yards a carry. That's pretty good against a defensive line that had what,
yeah,
2 first-round picks with Graham and
yep.
Grant?
Can it yep. Mm-hmm.
You take out, and I get it, the play happened. I don't love doing this, but I think you have to. You take
Uh-oh.
out the 55-yard reverse that Ryan Wingo had, 31 carries for 88 yards. That's 2.8 yards a clip. That's look, Michigan sucked, so you won that game. And Quinn Ewers was awesome. That was before, well, I guess he kind of got hurt in that game, but that was like, oh my God, Quinn Ewers looks like the Heisman winner early on. They did not run the ball consistently in that game at all. So, yeah, A&M, great. They were awesome. That's what happens when Texas plays A&M. I expect that every single year. Clemson, give them credit, especially in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
A couple of long runs. Weisner had one. Blue had one. That's all. Like, it's not like it was all bad. But again, the teams that you are going to have, beating A&M is great. They were what, 8-5 last year? Beating Clemson is great. Yeah, but they were like the 12 seed in the college football playoff. Like, my point is to win a national championship, not just to get to the playoff or compete in the SEC. To win a national championship, you got to run it better than the 2 yards a carry you ran for against Georgia's and Ohio State. I say Georgia's plural because you played them twice. So you're right. Like Cole Hudson, DJ, I think there's potential for this offensive line to be a little nastier in the run game, but it's a scary thought. Again, I don't know if you have a top 10 pick on this O-line. Maybe Gooseby becomes that. He looked pretty damn good last year, but like you're losing a lot of talent and you weren't good enough against the best teams you faced last season. That is my biggest concern. You didn't ask, but top to bottom on this team, that is my biggest concern with Texas football in 2025, Steve.
Yeah, I mean it's an area of concern that I think could potentially turn into a very exciting storyline. I mean, and we're gonna find out right away on August 30th,
Yeah.
right? We're gonna find out right away. By the way, we're trying to get to 15,000 subscribers, so make sure you sub up and help us in the journey to get there. Appreciate you guys. It's free to show love. Hit that like button. But that we're gonna find out right now, right? Like, there's no warm ups. There's no. I mean, we didn't even get to see a scrimmage. Okay, so what we do know though is Trevor Gooseby showed out as much as you could possibly show in the most positive way, again, with the sample size that we were given. And his sample size came in big, big games and big, big moments at both positions, right? To the point where you're like, man, is Kelvin Banks out? Kelvin Banks is still out there? Or like, what's going on? Like, literally, like, you forgot that he got hurt.
Yeah.
Like, that's as complimentary as you can be. Now, I will say this: in order for us to be successful, we have to, and this goes for everybody on the offense. And this is where I think Sark, any doubters that are still there, not as Sark as a head coach, but there are questions and doubters about Sark being an offensive coordinator while he's the head coach. Okay. I think he can answer those questions if he's able to adapt this offense and this scheme to his personnel, because these players are different from their incumbents. Arch is a different quarterback from Quinn Ewers. Skill set wise, movement wise, the way he attacks the field versus the way Quinn attacks the field, what he's good at versus he can't call the game the same way living on screens and intermediates and those type of things and a lot of ball like just the way he used Quinn is that's why Quinn went to the Dolphins. Like that the way they used Tua is the way that's the type of quarterback Quinn is. With Gooseby and Kelvin Banks. Kelvin Banks was amazing getting out in space. Screen game, all that. That's why you ran a bunch of screen because you had a tackle that runs like a tight end. I get it. Gooseby is more of he wants to put his hands on you. He's not going to go and like the one thing he's not great at yet, and maybe he gets there, but he's not a zone guy.
Yep.
He's a big mauling. I'm going to bury like more of a Milata from the Eagles. Think of him like that way, like a mountain. So you need to go more like Bama style when you had Najee in them, and you were just going straight downhill. To me, that's the way with this group. Adjust to your personnel. Same
Yeah.
thing with the receivers, BK. You don't
Yeah.
have Xavier Worthy or Isaiah Bond, but you got you got bigger receivers now that can run. It's gonna have to adjust around all these kids. And that's where I think Sark can prove to people that he can still be a productive offensive coordinator while being a successful head coach.
And the best coaches are able to adapt, right? And they're able to solve problems. So, hey, you're losing 4 offensive linemen from last year. That's a problem. How do you solve it? Yeah, you're losing, the 3 transfer wide receivers that you brought in, and you don't have Jonte Cook when you thought he was going to be going into year 3 in 2025. Like that's a quote unquote problem. How do you solve that? So, look, I trust Sark. We talked about it at the start of the show. I think he's a top 4 coach in college football. This is what you have to do. And to win a national championship, like Ryan Day lost a lot from 2 years ago to last year. Again, Kirby Smart lost a ton between his 2 championships. Dabo Swinney had a completely different roster when he won his 2 championships. You've got to find a way to overcome those personnel issues. Not saying it's going to be easy, but that's what the best coaches do. And Steve Sarkeesian's out to prove that he is one of the best coaches in the sport.
Amen. And look, guys, like Jonathan Miller, like I'm not saying eliminate screen game altogether. I'm just saying last year you had 2 running backs catch 44 passes each.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the type of quarterback you had. There's nothing wrong with that, but like Buddy was checking the ball down a lot too. Like that's part of it. But like and keeping us on time, like there's plays where it was there and he checked it down. There's plays where it wasn't there and he checked it down. Like he kept us going. That's why we're moving the ball pretty well between the 20s. But
The screen play, Steve, is the most hindsight is 2020 play ever, is it not? Right? Like if it works, the announcers and the fans are like, "Oh my god, what a play call. What a perfect time to call that."
perfect
And
time to
if it
dial
does
that up.
and if it does, like, okay, let's go back. The first Georgia game, right? Quinn Ewers, they called a screen pass in the middle of the field. Trey Wisner just drops it. If he catches it, that's Texas's first touchdown of the game, and it's a game. But he drops it, it doesn't work, so nobody really remembers it. And then he calls another screen, and it gets blown up, and it's like, what in the shit is this guy doing? Like that's when it works, it's the great. Oh, the coach is a genius. When it doesn't work, it's like, why would he lose 5 yards intentionally on this play? It is the most. Everything's a little hindsight is 2020. Sorry to cut you off, but that
No,
play
you're
right
right.
there
You're
is
right.
the most
I forgot about the
hindsight play.
Wisner job.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like I'm a masochist. I don't know why I can't forget about these plays that like have ruined my life for the last few months. But that who knows if Texas wins the game? They probably don't. Georgia was just too damn good that night. But like that moment right there, it's like, hey, if you call a screen pass at the right time, it can really work. You got to make sure you catch the ball though, Trey.
Yeah, I mean, and I think what we will see more of though, bootleg, more quarterback movement. This all right, y'all hear me? Stick with me. Walk with me for a second. Okay, cuz I think the offense is going to look a little bit more like it did in 2021 with Casey Thompson and Hudson Card in terms of how they were attacking the field, not the results. Do not think about let me do some Mr. Miyagi over here, okay? But when you think about how he was using Casey Thompson, he was rolling the pocket. Casey Thompson was taking deep shots. Now they weren't where they ended up all the time. I don't know, but he did hit quite a few of them. We just would blow leads like crazy. I mean, he had 2 games where he had 6 touchdown passes that season. But in terms of how he was moving and where Sark was using him, even in the red zone, how he would use Casey to roll out and he would hit the tight end or whatever. Like, I think you will see more of that element of Sark's offense and less of holding the ball or fake end around and kind of stand in the pocket and then, throwback screen. The throwback screen, I don't know how many times we're going to, like, that was being run every single week with Quinn for the last 3 years. At some point in the game, we're going to do a throwback screen to the running back.
Mhm.
Like, I do think that we will be more downfield pocket movement, rollout, boot to attack. I mean, just with already what we've seen from Arch, he's already done more boot than Quinn did. The first touchdown he threw was off bootleg. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying the results. I'm just saying it will look more like how we were attacking teams at that point.
Steve
Just
says we're
predictive.
going 5-7 this year. Mark that down, everyone. He's putting in a 5-7 prediction for Texas in 2025. We
Sky
all
is
heard it.
falling radio, baby.
We all heard it. No, like, look, you'd be silly to not use Arch's legs. Again, don't turn him into a crash test dummy, but like you should move the pocket. That's a strength of his. You didn't have that element with Quinn Ewers here, so that's a benefit to this offense. And I hope we do see a little bit more of that from Texas in 2025 because not a lot of other teams have that. So use that. That's going to make this offense a lot tougher to slow down.
Man, those whip routes that we had, I know exactly. Yeah, the one against Iowa State, he cooked that dude. I remember that one.
Mm.
Even some of the stuff that Jordan Whittington could do in the middle of the field. I think you have Mosley coming in here. They're saying he's going to play a lot of slot. You have DeAndre Moore, who I think is going to be one of Arch's, if not his favorite target, just from what we've already seen. Those guys can dot people up. I mean, look at the route that DeAndre Moore ran in the SEC championship game to break free. That was a crazy route, right? So we got guys that can do all these different things that we've seen different players and other iterations of Sark's offense do those things, right? Like, I'm not saying our wide receiver core is going to be Jerry Jeudy and Jalen Waddle and Ruggs and all these other people. I'm not. They're not. We don't have. This is not the track year with the receivers. But I think we have a well-rounded group that just needs the opportunities. I really, really do,
Yeah.
especially when you factor in the tight end from Cal. So, I'm starting to like the group more and more around Arch. I know we just talked about that on our show on Sunday, but I'm optimistic with how this group is going to work with him come game time.
Yeah, it's a lot of wait and see. I mean, I think it is for the entirety of this offense, right? Of course, the defense is replacing some studs. Jade Barron, a first-round pick. Andrew Makuba, second-round pick. Collins and Broughton, those guys were day 2 picks as well. They won't be easy to replace, but you've got a lot more coming back on defense than you do on offense. So it's obviously the quarterback that starts everything, but your wide receivers, your offensive line, your tight end. Yeah, you said it earlier, man. I mean, you're hitting the ground running. Right. The cool part about the Michigan game last year was what, week 2. So it's like you had a week against a nobody to kind of get some things figured out before you played your tough road game against the defending champs from the Big Ten. I think Ohio State in 25 is going to be a lot better than Michigan in 24. And of course, that's your first game. So look, they
Right.
had 13 guys drafted. So they've got the exact same problem that you have. They are replacing a ton and they got a new quarterback and this, that, and the other. But yeah, it'd be nice to have that little tune-up game. You don't have it this year. So those guys better be pretty buttoned up
You know
in
the
week 1.
thing with Ohio State that's interesting is they're really the difference is they have a national championship right now and we don't. But they are they're in the same boat we are. When you think about all the people they lost, I actually think we have more, if I'm not mistaken, we have more returning starters coming back than they do.
Yeah.
They just have they're just top, they're super top heavy. Like with the names that not when I say top heavy, I'm talking about proven guys. Do not clip this and say that I said Ohio State is top heavy. That's not my point. My point is they're top heavy with people that have big names. Okay, you can make the argument that Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs are 2 of the top 3 players in college football pound for pound, whatever position.
Yeah, I would argue that. I'd say Jeremiah Smith is the best offensive player, and Caleb Downs is the best defensive player in the sport right now.
And they have both of them.
Yeah,
Okay. So and then you factor in, Sonny Styles and Justin Hancock and some of these other guys that were freaking interchangeable pieces on that defense. They're back. I get that. Now, like you said with the quarterback situation, Julian Saint hasn't played at all.
right.
He's come in and handed the ball off a couple times. He hasn't played at all. Like, I have way more proof of Arch and his 13 touchdowns last year than I do of Julian saying putting him into that situation where he's got to go day one against Colin Simmons, right? Against Trey Moore, Ethan Burke, Anthony Hill, Michael Taft. First start. Good luck. I know you got. I know you got Jeremiah Smith. He's probably gonna put up some YOLO balls though, right? Like just like we got it. We can't just be in this defensive position of we're the only team in the country replacing talent when, like BK just said, we've been here, done that. We've been here, done that. And some of these prep guys, we like them more than some of the people that left. I'm not, no disrespect.
Sure.
So I don't know, man. I feel really good.
Yeah.
I know we're at an hour. I promised you an hour here, BK. So I really appreciate you jumping on and talking ball with us. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on or chime in on before we
No,
leave?
man. I mean, I think you wrapped it up perfectly, right? And I talked about it earlier. You asked me the two toughest games on Texas's schedule. Well, it's Ohio State and Georgia. Those are the only two teams that lost more players to the NFL than you did. So, like those are games Texas can win. I think they'll split those games. I haven't decided which one I think they're going to win and which one I think they're going to lose, but it's not outlandish to think Texas could go on the road and beat Ohio State or go on the road and beat Georgia. Those teams are going to have some problems. They've got a lot of guys to replace. They're going to be a little bit vulnerable, and if this Texas team lives up to its potential, then this could be a really special year here in Austin, Texas, USA, America.
JS said Sark had Quinn out there doing the dream shake in the pocket on the screen passes. That's
Oh,
crazy.
don't how you gonna do a Keem like that, man? Like that? What did Dream do to deserve that comparison? All right, no disrespect to Quinn, but like, come on, how you gonna do that to Dream right now? I'm a Mavs fan, and I'm saying that. What are we doing out here?
Hey, congratulations, by the way. Congratulations on Cooper Flag.
Oh yes, I worked really hard for that.
You know,
Yeah, all of my years of bitching about the Spurs winning the lottery because it's rigged finally paid off. That the Mavs, it's like, oh, BK, it's rigged, right? Yeah, I've been saying it's rigged for years, but now I'm gonna actually brag about it because it's helping my favorite team for the first time ever. So,
hell yeah.
it's great.
Organized crime pays, baby.
Hey, and your Spurs, it'll be interesting. I know you've talked about it, and I'm sure you'll keep talking about it. But what y'all do with number two, like that's the options are plentiful for you guys in San Antonio as this new post pop era begins. So it's a good time. Obviously, the Rockets had the best year of the three. Mavs' future looked completely done. Now it looks like they have one again, and the Spurs are obviously on the come up. So it's gonna be a lot of fun NBA basketball to watch in this state. Hopefully for the next few years too.
Amen. I would like to have you back on at some point to talk Texas hoops, right? And kind of, maybe explore what the Sean Miller era should look like at Texas, could look like. Maybe, we talk about this SEC conference. Basketball had a hell of a year in the SEC, obviously the national champion Florida Gators, but I mean, unbelievable basketball conference we stepped into, BK, coming out of another unbelievable basketball conference in the Big 12. I think one of the next episodes I have with you, I just want to talk hoops and
Yeah,
deep
I'm
dive
down.
into.
I don't know if you and I are tall enough to talk about this team. I mean, the way Sean Miller's recruiting, dude, like another 7-footer. He's got two, and then a 6'11" guy. Like every Texas
A
basketball
7 foot
fan.
Brit too. I
Yeah,
like he's going back international like Rick Barnes used to do.
yeah. Maybe don't watch this guy's film. Not because he's bad, but the guys he's going up against. I mean, it's interesting. But no, we'll chop it
I
up
know.
on Texas basketball soon. I'm a big Sean Miller fan, so I'm excited about what he's going to do with this team. And man, it'd be nice to be great in all three of the big three. Football is where it needs to be. Baseball's number one in the country. Well, they won the SEC. They're number two in the country. They're going to be the number one overall seed, I think, on Selection Sunday. If we can just get men's basketball to catch up with women's hoops and all those other sports, then we're going to be enjoying life a lot as Longhorn fans, my man.
Appreciate you. JB, I hear you. I will put out the bat signal, my brother. We will find Billy. Look, folks, BK, where can the people find you, man?
Appreciate that. Locked On Longhorns and Texas Sports Unfiltered. Bucky and BK live every weekday from 7 to 9. We've got our own app. We're on YouTube. Head over to TexasSportsUnfiltered.com. Get Locked On Longhorns wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as well. And occasionally on my own personal channel, I'll post some stuff on YouTube. So grinding away all the time. And appreciate you giving me the opportunity to promote what I've got going on. And appreciate you giving me the opportunity to chop it up with you tonight, Steve.
You too, man. And you guys can find me over there from time to time, either
Yeah.
host an open gym with Patrick Davis, and we will have fun. We always chop it up about the Spurs, me and him. And, BK gave us the opportunity to fill in for Chip and Zay last Friday with Nash Talks Texas. So we'll have some of those clips up here from that conversation last Friday. But, y'all go download the Texas Sports Unfiltered app right now. Just have it on your phone. It's great at the gym. Listening, you can see the schedule, previous episodes. There's always content playing on there. Texas Sports Unfiltered, free app. Go download that. I got that right here plugged up on the phone. So, having BK on, man, means the world to me. Brad, appreciate you. Y'all make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 15K by August 30th, Texas, Ohio State. Hit that like button. It's free to show love. Horns always up. Hook 'em.